Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Life podcast today. My name is Jeremiah Kurkowski, and on this podcast, I help you grow in your business and your personal life. Listen, if your mindset isn't in the right place to be productive, you're not going to do good in business. And if your business isn't thriving, it has an effect on the mindset. We need to focus on where we're going and leave behind the past of what hasn't worked. Start creating a strategy to get to where we want to go. Now, today I want to talk on a topic that everybody needs to listen to. In fact, this is the number one area when I do consulting with my clients that I help them with. Sometimes they think they need one thing, but this is generally the number one area that they need to focus on the most. And that is communication over video. Okay, but also communication in the written format and written word. And when I do consulting with people, I help them with that. Come up with the storytelling, the framework, not to change their vision, but to rather refine it in a way that communicates and presents themselves that is consistent with what gets results and creates the most impact. And so if you have a goal in mind, you have a people group that you're trying to reach. Could be global, it could be very micro niche. It could be, stay-at-home moms that want to lose weight, or it could be as big as people that believe in God, which is like a lot of people, or people that don't believe in God. Anything, whatever that is, whatever your goal is, who you're trying to reach and impact, this is the place in 2019 and even more so in 2020 that you need to refine and focus on is getting your storytelling down, getting your communications down, getting your copywriting down, and what I call is verbal sales copy, okay? Verbal copywriting. And this is about selling. This is about getting results. This is about making sales. This is about, if you're a nonprofit, getting more donations. This is about mobilizing people. This is about that. Some sort of action that you want a human being to take that will then produce a result in them. And we have to be consistent with that. We have to grow in our leadership. We have to grow in how we lead people. And so in this, I'm going to say a few things that maybe are outside of the box, that are outside of the range of what you've heard normally or personally experienced. But I want you to be open and realize that my mission here is to help you get more results with whatever it is that you are currently doing. And over the last 15 years, this is the number one area that I've seen consistently with every single business that I've worked with, that as soon as they got this thing connected, it clicked. Think of like two pieces of a chain link that link together. When they're broken, it's not clicking, but when you link them, everything starts to flow better. And this was the one area that no matter what we got working, no matter what we implemented, sales copy, websites, advertising campaigns, staff, products, services. This one area of communication, which is often called copywriting, but this is a little bit more than copywriting. I don't want to go into just sales copy. That is one form of communication. I want to talk about an overarching framework for you of cultivating your best form of communication that uniquely fits you. Listen, I know that you're not me, and if you're not somebody that's comfortable on video, I've actually digressed from something that I've said in the past, and I'm starting to implement a system and develop it that can help people that are not good at video get better at it, or that are not good at writing get better at writing. And this is what the two things that I've noticed is. Often, it is very rare, and if this is you, then you don't even need to listen to this podcast. It's very rare that you are excellent on video and get results and excellent at writing. Most people are one or the other. But this is the big but here, is most people who are good at one or the other often believe that they can't grow in the skill of the other one. Or if they have neither skill, they believe that maybe they weren't born with the ability to do that. And so if that's you, that you believe that you aren't born with the ability or not able to either communicate verbally or written at all, I'm going to create a framework here real briefly that's going to help activate you in some natural skill and ability that you have. What I don't want is for you to feel the comparison bug. I don't want you to feel inadequacy. I don't want you to feel like you can't do something. Here's what I want you to say is, I can't do that right now. But I am growing and learning to do it in the future and getting better at it. And what this is that is a process. You know, I've seen some people where they try to grow in this area and they think it happens overnight. In fact, I was one of those people that thought that myself. And I was really prideful and cocky about where I came from, my own ability of helping people. And as soon as I had to start making these podcasts, blogging, writing, making daily social media content, I started to have some empathy for people. I started to realize just how difficult it is. I started to realize that, oh, wow, I'm expecting people to do something I'm not willing to do myself. And so over the last 9 months, I've gone on a journey, a personal journey, of defining for myself, what are these things? What are these beliefs that I've had? What are the triggers? And how can I unlock them to activate myself for success? And one of the first ones is, whatever we worry about, are anxious about, stressful about, or fear, we empower. Whatever we love, we empower. Okay? And this is seen throughout our lives, meaning your brain doesn't know the difference between, I'm afraid of, let's make this practical, losing my house or losing my wife. All your brain hears is, lose your house, lose your wife. And it's a story that we're telling ourselves. And what it does is it creates a chain link in your mind. Your brain doesn't hear I'm afraid of, it just hears that one thing. And so by you declaring it, you're actually empowering that thing you're afraid of. And your reticular activating system is focusing on that thing and how to actually bring it about. Now, there's some hooky teaching out there about law of attraction. You just kind of sit there and go, and it all comes to you. I do believe in declaration. I do believe in declaring what we want. But it's a two-way street here. The law of attraction works by activating your reticular activating system and attracting yourself to and attracting to you. And so it works as a two-way street. And this is where I've noticed a lot of teaching on this gets mixed up of the law of attraction. This is not a video training on the law of attraction, but this is the framework of this that I wanted to present to you here. So if I say, I don't know how to make videos, we're actually empowering that belief of I don't know how to make videos, and our actions then follow that. Or I don't know how to write. We're empowering that. Or I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. We're empowering ourselves to say the wrong thing. I'm afraid of getting in trouble. We're empowering ourselves to get in trouble. I'm afraid of being punished. We're empowering ourselves to be punished. And so the opposite of fear, it's actually not confidence, it's not joy, it's love. A lot of people think the opposite of love is hate. It's actually not. Hate is a byproduct of fear based on trying to protect what we love. That's a deeper topic for another time. But in this, whatever we're afraid of, we empower that thing we're afraid of, and it starts to manifest in our lives. And what I mean by manifestation is our actions follow that belief system. So we have faith in that belief of I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I do it wrong. I make mistakes. And we have faith in that belief, and then our faith follows. We put our faith into action, and we get the life that's in front of us, and we get struggle, we get shame, guilt, all of that. And I know a lot of you listening to this have heard me say this. I have a number of people that listen to my podcast. Not everybody that's listening to this is in the same place. But what I've noticed is in the area of communication and presentation and copywriting and writing and video, there's some sort of thing that we're focusing on still that is getting our eyes off of the ball, basically. And this is a sports analogy here. When the pitcher throws the ball in baseball, baseball players are frequently known to be able to actually even slow down time, slow down the frequency of their shutter speed on their eyes to be able to see the stitches on the ball. And this is a skill over time that they grow in, that they learn. And when they're fearful or worried about something, often it could be as simple as their girlfriend broke up with them. This is actually what we've noticed in pro baseball. During the World Series run of the Kansas City Royals and the year after, I observed as a conscious observer the emotions of, I would watch the players' social media posts and I would correlate their social media to the emotions and the performance that I saw them do on the field. And it's kind of funny during that season. Little fun story for you. I've actually never told anybody this. I moved to an apartment complex that actually happened to be the place where the Kansas City Royals team lived. And so I lived next door to about 5 or 6 of the star players of the Kansas City Royals. A lot of them had homes as well around there, and then they had an apartment to where they could go to. Maybe they had 2 homes or something the team paid for. They would park their cars there. And so I would actually see the players. I would see them walking their dogs. I would be at the pool and see them at the pool. And I would just say, hey, how's it going? I didn't even say anything about them playing because I wanted to honor them. I knew a lot of people would always want their autograph and stuff. I just wanted them to realize, hey, I see them as a person. But I would notice, I would see them, and some days they would be down, or I would see on social media or the news that they were broken up with their girlfriend or something like this. And their performance would actually decrease. It would actually go down during that season. Then as soon as maybe they got a new girlfriend or they something happened, or I would see a brightness in them, or maybe they just got over their issues, that maybe they talked to a counselor on the team, maybe a motivator, they would perform better. And I started to think, what would cause this? And so I started to study then quantum physics. And this is not about quantum physics. I'm not going to make this about that level of things. But I studied about how some professional sports players and also video gamers would actually get gaming systems that would have a faster frame rate, 144 frames per second, and they could actually slow down at their frequency or speed up their frequency, rather, I think is what it is, to where they could see every single frame and slow down the perception of it. A lot of times when a pro football player becomes a professional, they say he's able to slow the game down to where he can see the ball, have more control over it. And so there's a lot of science behind this. There's a lot of science that we don't even understand about vibration and frequency. And unfortunately, there's some hooky teaching on this as well. But a lot of it is also scientific. There's a guy that I've been listening to. His name's Dan McCollum, and he's been teaching about this. He's got a book called Bending Time, where he talks about this, as well as he teaches about frequency and vibration, and as it goes with declaration. And I actually saw a teaching that he did on when we declare certain things, there's actually a vibration that happens in the electromagnetic field around us, and a vibration in our bones, and we're activating in our neurological function. The reticular activating system connects to and starts to notice where we're going, what we want to learn, what we want to accomplish. And in this, we can even connect with divine inspiration, a higher power. And this is where a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talk about, prophecy, hearing things from the heavens, and getting ideas, downloads, things just kind of came to them in their mind that they didn't even know. We've seen throughout history this has happened with people. We've seen this throughout even the last 4 to 5,000 years. This happens where there's things like this, that downloads that happen, and there's actually scientific proof of where this comes from. And so I want to tie this to, again, your belief about what you can do, what you can accomplish, what is possible for you. And realize that if you're listening to me right now, if you're still listening to this podcast, 15 minutes into this, and you didn't shut it off at minute 5 or minute 10, or when I said quantum physics or prophecy or law of attraction, you're probably somebody that is either resonating with this, or you're trying to wait until I actually get to the real meat of the topic, because you are attempting to get to the next level in your business, in your nonprofit, whatever that is. But you know that communication on video, communication in written word, and spoken word are important. Now, I want to set another framework to this, okay? On top of the reticular activating system, on top of declaration, on top of not empowering what we're anxious about, worried about, but rather empowering what we want more of and declaring it, speaking it into existence, a lot of people say, video recording and audio recording and written word have a very interesting place in human history. And it's about energy transfer. Okay? And so in energy transfer, when we write something out in a book, we're actually capturing that energy into that book and can transfer it to somebody else who reads it. And so it's a form of energy transfer. And I've talked about this as well with money. Money is a form of energy transfer. We're transferring energy between two parties of equal energy, and it activates the two, whether you're paying somebody to do a service or somebody's buying a product from you, or even time. Time is an energy transfer. As you're listening to me right now, there's even an energy transfer going on in you, between us right now. And I'm actually speaking these words into the microphone in front of my computer and the camera and transferring it to you. And if you're watching this on video, there's an even deeper level of that. And so what I've noticed is that energy transfer, when it goes through the two senses of the eye gate, the shutter speed on your eyes, and the ear gate, actually activates something on a deeper level than just one or the other. It's multi-sensory. And so that's why now in modern times on social media, we're starting to see this being taken advantage of in a negative way. Meaning stuff like elections being swung in certain ways. Stuff like brainwashing happening to people through television and programming. You are constantly being programmed to do something. And I'm going to say this right now, even as I'm talking, my goal is to reprogram certain things in you in a way that will better serve you for your goals. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I know that this is the number one area that needs to be shifted and reprogrammed in people to reach their goals, is the belief about communication with written word, spoken word, and video content, and the power that they have behind that, and not empowering the negative belief systems about what they don't have the ability to do. Empowering themselves to do something that they've never done before. Empowering them to do what appears to be impossible. And we have to do that by baby stepping it. We have to do it by starting at the very basic level. We have to do it by starting at where somebody is and meeting them where they are at. Okay? And so even as I'm doing this podcast, I can sense, and I'm even, I believe, tapping into some wisdom here that I've been praying about how I can help people with this. So, because it's something that I know that people need to grab onto. It's something that I know that they need to understand. But a lot of people don't understand it. They don't even understand how their brain works. They don't understand how their neurotransmitters connect, how their ears work, their hearing, their eyes. And as well, there's also a lot of people that maybe grew up with dyslexia. And there's actually two forms of dyslexia. There's visual dyslexia, where the words flip. But there's also hearing and auditory dyslexia, where the words that people hear are flipped and in reverse order. And that's not something to feel ashamed about. But a lot of times in culture, if you are forgetful about something, if you forget something soon after hearing it, this is a form of what's called that auditory dyslexia. And there's been research that actually a lot of the most genius people throughout history maybe have suffered from this from one time or another. And so I started to begin to study what manifests this. And I'm going to be real and vulnerable with you for a minute here. Whew. This is hard for me to share because I've never shared it. This is something that I've struggled with my whole life since I was younger, was this auditory processing dyslexia. Visually, I never had it because I could always read really well, but the hearing would kind of flip itself for me. And so what I noticed was, though it wasn't all the time, it was only in areas that I was not confident in. And when I had that lack of confidence, it would manifest. And when I had confidence in something, it wouldn't manifest. And I thought that was very interesting. Why am I experiencing two very different things? And I thought that it was bipolar, a mental illness, or ADHD. And this is something that's been spoken over me, even schizophrenia, by people. I've never been clinically diagnosed with any of this, but I've had people say these different declarations over me, and I started to take them on as belief systems. I started to believe that I had something wrong with me, that I was born broken, that I was born with issues, that I had issues that couldn't be solved, that couldn't be fixed. And yet there were moments in my life where I was the most confident and I wouldn't experience those issues. Things would actually go in the order that weren't affected. And when I got married, my wife and I, we would have these moments where, I've been married 2 years now, she would say something and I would actually hear it in reverse and forget the first thing she said. And those would always be things that I was manifesting: fear, worry, and anxiety. Fear of making a mistake, fear of saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, worry about losing something, worry about lack of time, worry about losing maybe money, finances, worry about being punished, getting in trouble. And so these were things for me. And so you maybe have experienced this yourself. And yours, I can guarantee you, is not the same as mine. And so this is why I want to encourage people as well, that if you've been through trauma or have experienced this and you have these patterns, seeking professional help can really do you a service. Having a therapist, somebody to work with. I worked with an organization that was called Restoring the Foundations that helped people with these areas and helped me develop a framework to kind of go through, let me go back to when did I create that belief system about myself? What's the story that I'm believing about what happened and how has it been manifesting in my life? And then marrying the two together, creating new beliefs, new memories that attach on top of and replace the old one. And actually, as when I would do that repeatedly and constantly, it would start to change my life. It would change how I was acting. And so a couple that I landed on even this week, you guys, I'm going to be, again, vulnerable with you, is a belief that I was broken. So I was manifesting brokenness, belief that I was fearful of being punished. And so that fear of punishment, I was constantly getting in trouble for things, constantly pushing the envelope a little too far, constantly saying things that would get me disbanded by certain people, constantly manifesting my insecurity and vomiting and word vomiting insecurity on people, constantly showing people that insecurity all the time. And it was affecting my relationships, my business, presenting myself to people in ways that was not congruent or consistent with what I knew inside of me and attached with the history of my life based on insecurity. And so, for example, insecurity about finances, insecurity about wealth, insecurity about teaching, insecurity about health, insecurity about fitness, insecurity about marriage, stuff like that. It all started manifesting in my life, and I connected it to things I observed when I was younger, about 0 to 5 years old. And I don't want to get into a lot of psychological stuff here as well. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I've never been trained in any of this formally. These are just observations that I've noticed about myself, and I want to inspire you maybe to observe the things only for the purpose of not taking it on as a cloak, not taking it on as an identity, not taking it on as a justification for your negative behaviors, not taking it on as a reason for why you are where you are right now, but rather to inspire you to write down and replace those beliefs with positive opposites. And what do I mean by that? So if I'm afraid of punishment, I realized it was because I was actually afraid of not being loved. And I had to realize, like, I have a lot of people around me that show me love constantly. That fear of not being loved is unfounded. And it was actually a deep-seated thing of me not having a relationship with my life and a divine relationship with God in a way, and not feeling like even that God hated me was a thing. Or feeling like other people would judge me or pre-think things bad about me, or that I would get in trouble for something that, even though I had the best intentions, that I would get in trouble for it because I didn't say it perfectly, or that because I didn't have credentials in something that I couldn't speak on something, and that I would maybe even go to jail for something, that I would go. I've observed people that, maybe have taught things, the 10 secrets of health that they don't want you to know. I forget his name, but that guy got in trouble and went to jail for things. And I would constantly be afraid of, I would see like insider trading and think I need to stay away from the stock market because, I have intuition. Like, isn't that weird? Super weird. And thinking that I would be prejudged by things that I didn't do wrong, that I know inside of me I'm not doing wrong, but I was taking on that guilt and shame based on what I had observed in other people and the fear of getting in trouble, the fear of other people misjudging me in a way that's not true, the fear of my peers hearing one thing that I'm saying and believing that I meant something that I never meant, a fear of somebody assuming that I had ill will about something, a fear of somebody thinking that I was evil. And I even heard a lot of times growing up this lie, that if you fear something, then it's probably true. And that's a lie. It's not true. But you empower what you fear, and you start to manifest what you fear. And so in that, we need to stop giving focus to those things that we're afraid of. We need to stop empowering those things and start empowering what do we want. And so in that, what do you want? Ask yourself that question. And these are the statements that we need to start with. This is the foundation of becoming a better communicator on video, becoming a better communicator on social media, becoming a better communicator on your sales copy and selling. Is instead of focusing on what we don't want to happen, what we're trying to avoid, what we are trying to not create, we focus our energy on what we are attempting to do, what we are attempting to create, what we are attempting to empower. And so I'm not going to keep going too long on this. I've been talking for 30 minutes now on this topic, and I know I've thrown a lot of information at you, kind of like a fire hose here. So the practical of this is this, okay? And I'm going to keep pressing into this some more in my content for you guys. I also want to hear some feedback as to some questions that you might have. The question you got to ask yourself is this: what do I want? And if that was really what I wanted, what would I be doing differently? What would I believe differently? What would I declare differently? And so, for instance, let's say you have a goal to help people grow in their finances, create wealth. Instead of empowering what you don't want, well, I don't want to be misjudged as, let's say you're in the church, misjudged as a prosperity gospel preacher or something like that. Instead of manifesting that, we start declaring what we do want, and we start speaking that into existence. And we focus our reticular activating system not on so much what is around us that we're trying to avoid, but rather what we're doing. And there's two sides to this. So often, when we're so focused on what we're trying to avoid, we actually have a narrow vision. When we focus on what we want more of, our vision expands around us. And there's actually, imagine an image of two triangles intersecting each other. And actually the image of that I always get in mind is the Star of David. This is something that I've been really studying for the last couple of years. It's not the three-dimensional Star of David where they're rotating around each other, but rather just the flat one. But it's two triangles intersecting, okay? And so one of the triangles is wide at the bottom and sharp at the top. The other one intersects it, is wide at the top and sharp at the bottom. So when your focus is like this, it's so wide, you actually end up narrowing the focus of what you can do because you're focusing on what you're worried about. But when you laser focus on what you're attempting to accomplish, you actually widen your perspective and increase your territory and increase your influence and your impact. And we see this, it's like a wheel within a wheel type of a thing, okay? I have literally no basis for what I just shared with you other than it is a visual analysis that I've always seen as a parallel to the image of the Star of David. I don't even know if that there's a reason for that, or if there's any historical basis for that Star of David at all, or the symbolism, other than it's just how my mind, I get pictures, they pop in my head, and there's visuals of that, is going up and then down. So when we're so focused on all this stuff that we're afraid of, our focus narrows and we're less effective. Our impact is less effective. That's what it is. So our focus is wide, our impact is less effective. But when we're laser focused on what we're accomplishing, our impact is actually widened. Our sphere of influence is widened and increased. And so in that's why we need to focus on what more do I want and less of what I don't want. What more do I want to accomplish and less of what I don't want to accomplish, okay? And we start to declare it. We start to focus our energy, our verbal communication, our content creation, our teaching, our written word on what we do want and less on what we don't want. And I don't want you to feel like just because you're good at one thing and bad at another that you are locked into just doing that thing. If you're somebody that's really good at writing, I want to empower you to write more. And then maybe write down some bullet points, do a writing, and keep these notes with you. And when you do video content, use those written notes as a guide for you. Don't be embarrassed that people are going to see you reading notes. I used to do this thing where I would have notes on my phone and I would read off of it when I was teaching. And I would just say, hey, this helps keep me on track, helps both of us. Don't feel embarrassed by that. You don't have to be perfect to impact the world. You don't have to be perfect to impact your sphere of influence that you're trying to impact. You just have to take action and do something and actually do the thing that you fear doing. So often when we're afraid of something happening, it points to a very thing that we're afraid of doing. And we're activating what we fear happening by not doing the thing that we fear. And so what are you afraid of doing? You don't need to do it right away, baby step it, step into it. It's okay. Stair step it. But you have to take action. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to take a step of faith to put one foot in front of the other and take action. And so if you're somebody as well that maybe struggles with writing, but you're really good on video form or spoken word. When I first started writing, I was horrible at writing, and I was also horrible on video. I was not good at writing words, and I was not good at talking on video. But I was okay at recording my voice, because I used to, when I was younger, I used to record my voice into tape recordings, and I would actually do these like preaching tapes when I was like 5-10 years old, where I would record myself talking about things. And even this format of doing these podcasts is kind of like a form of preaching. I listen to a lot of preachers. I listen to a lot of teachers. I listen to a lot of professors and academic teachers. I listen to people that believe opposite of what I believe and people that believe the same as what I believe. And I use discernment and wisdom to develop my belief systems and not be impacted or controlled by those things. And so you have to have confidence in this. Nobody is going to empower you enough or validate you enough to go where you need to go. You need to make the choice to do it yourself. Nobody is in control of your choices or your actions but you. You need to empower yourself to do the things that you need to do to reach your goals. You need to increase the level of confidence that you have in yourself. And whatever method you have for that, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's just spending time with your kids. For me, real honestly, let me say this as well. Mine was playing video games. Yeah. Mine was watching sports as a kid. Mine was playing outside. And so now when I'm not feeling confident in something, I play with my dogs. I load up a video game. I talk about something with people. I record a video. I play my piano. Whatever your thing is that you're most confident in, pull from that confidence and then build up that confidence and then attach it right to what you're doing here. So before I recorded this video, for instance, I want to share this with you, just part of my method here. It's literally 60 seconds before I pressed record on this podcast episode, I went and played my piano for 10 minutes. And I played a song, and it was a song, it was like kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, there's a guy, I've been talking with him recently, even developing a friendship with. I just met him about a month and a half ago. His name's Jim Baker. It's not the famous Jim Baker. He's a pastor from Ohio, but he's gonna be famous one day. And I can see that in him because I can see what he carries and what he walks in, and it's at a higher level than I've ever seen anybody else walk in for healing and for wealth creation. And in that, he made a post about he might be listening to this right now, which is kind of funny. So it's hilarious. I'm like getting nervous now. What am I going to say about him? You know, but he made this post that said an entrepreneur needs to have the spirit of a pirate and the tactical strategy of a Navy SEAL. And I had a thought in my head that I added to that, you know, and the morals and ethics and wisdom of a saint. And these three things together, if we can combine them, you know, for me, that's why I was always afraid of getting in trouble. I always felt like I was never good enough. And so I had to attach that on there for me. is realize, you know what? I am good enough. I am worthy of success. Even though I don't know everything, and even if I say things that maybe are off, maybe if I say something that I'm not fully confident in, I'm able to point people in the direction that can help them. I listen to wise teachers. Simon Sinek said this. He's somebody that I've been studying recently. He said, listen, the best teachers actually aren't experts in what they teach. They can help point people in the direction to empower themselves to be experts. There's a guy, his name's Dave Meltzer. He says that if we can empower 1,000 people to empower 1,000 people who empower 1,000 more, we can impact 1/8 of the entire world's population, which is almost 8 billion people now. And so these are some experts that I lean on, for wisdom, for things. Ed Milet, another guy, he's helped me with my confidence, his podcast. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's brilliant when it comes to social media. Andy Frisella, he's like the go-getter, pound it, grind it out, no excuses, kind of like personal trainer kind of guy. He's got a fitness business type of a thing. And these are guys that they're saying even on social media when it comes to communication, making videos, making content, they're telling people, stop looking at the numbers. Stop looking at the algorithm and speak as if the algorithm doesn't exist. Say the things that can impact the most people. And so this is kind of the point of all of this, is for you to get good at video and written word and activate yourself to grow to this next level of where you're going. To utilize social media to get sales in your business, to utilize social media to grow to the next level. You need to speak as if the algorithm doesn't exist. Speak as if the validation and the numbers don't exist. And say the thing on your heart that has the widest impact and can help the most people in the most focused way. And that's something that I've been learning myself and realizing that if I can help empower 1,000 people to get better at doing video content and communicating on video, I can empower 1,000 people to make $1 million. And I have a mission. I've said this. I want to help 100,000 people make $1 million in their businesses. But I have to start with 1,000 people. I have to start with 10 people. I have to start with 1 or 2. And if you know a little bit about my story, I've worked with a number of millionaires that have been successful and kind of been behind the scenes, helping them with videos, helping them with communication, with copywriting, with advertising, with getting their words and expressing them in a way that not changes their message, but activates, refines, and then launches them further. And so that's what I want to help you with here. But I need your help. I need you to ask me questions. That's why I have the Grow Your Life community. That's why I have, maybe some of you have my contact on Messenger. Leave a comment. Send me an email. Let me know what are some of the areas that you're struggling with. What are some of these areas that you need to grow in to get to that next level? And if you're somebody that's really good at the written word, writing, maybe you have books that are written, but you struggle with video, I would suggest and challenge you to pick some of your books off the shelf and find the chapter that you think is going to impact people the most today, that your hearing can impact the most amount of people, and is the simplest starting point for them. Make a video on social media today, read that text, record it, articulate it. It needs to be step 1 or even pre-step 1 for people. Speak it out. Maybe make a series over the next week or month. Take that book, press record on camera, and just talk about it. And imagine the person on the other side of the screen. This is like a mental avatar of that person, maybe 5 or 10 people that you know that you can impact. Speak to them. Speak to their spirit. I'm not talking about watering down the message, but rather connect with them and meet them where they're at to help them get to where they need to go. lower the rope to somebody. You're somebody probably who, if you already have written books, are on top of the mountain already. Lower a rope to somebody and help them get to that next level. And do so with step one, with what you already have written, and just speak it out. Just talk it out. And help other people with what you already are good at, if you're somebody that's good at writing. And if you're somebody that's good at the spoken word, but you're not good at video, or you're not good at written word, speak. Record yourself into your voice recorder today, okay? Get it transcribed. There's a site, it's called rev.com, R-E-V.com, and you can load your transcription into Grammarly. It's $10 a month, Grammarly. It's like grammar and then L-Y. It's an app that has artificial intelligence that actually helps you become a better writer. Disseminate that written word into there, edit it, keep editing and refining it until it makes more sense. And do the same thing that I told the people with the writing. Step one, the starting place for people. What can impact them the most today and can impact the most amount of people today? So it's about focusing on the avatar. Maybe 5 to 10 avatars, or even one avatar. While I'm doing this right now, I have about 10 of my consulting clients in mind, and 10 of my coaching clients, and 10 people that listen to my podcast. But all of them have this one area that they need to grow in. And I know that it's possible for them to do that. I know that it's possible for you to get to the next level. I know it because I've seen it, because I've helped people that are not good at video get better at video. And as soon as you get better at this, if you're somebody that is good at spoken word, but you get scared at the camera, if that visual camera is there, that fear of how you look to other people is keeping you held back. Start working on this writing thing. And next time you want to record your spoken word, put a camera on a tripod and start talking. Let people connect with you in your spirit. Let them connect with you visually. You know, if you're somebody that's watching this in video right now, you're connecting with me right now on a deep level. I'm looking at the camera. I'm seeing it as if it's your eyes right now. That's what I'm imagining, is that I'm talking to you right now. I have this perspective that I'm talking to you, one person. And this is what is called the one to the masses. And so you speak to the one. You meet the one where they're at. And often this is where then you can get better at this, and that's where the avatar model comes up. The one becomes the masses, but you're able to speak to the one and speak in a way that congruently puts it all together simply and easily. But speak to the one, meet the one there. And if you're somebody that's just starting out, you don't have a business, you don't even have a single client, find the one. Find that one person that you can impact today and encourage them and empower them to go to the next level. Do what I've done right here on this video. Record a video, maybe for that person on your phone, and email it to them. Write a little text message to them. Record an audio. Whatever is best works best for you. Whatever works best for you, record that. Disseminate it. You don't have to be an expert, but you just have to have a desire to help somebody. And focus more on what you want and less on what you don't want. And you'll see your life transform for you. Listen, I believe in you, and I know that it's possible. If you start doing this, if you stay consistent with it, and I want to come alongside you, and I want to help support you with this. And I'm not even going to sell you anything. All I ask is that you subscribe to this podcast, that you subscribe to the Grow Your Life podcast, that you join the hashtag Grow Your Life group on Facebook. You look up hashtag Grow Your Life, and as questions come up, you just start asking questions. Or, you know, if you're somebody that doesn't feel comfortable asking the question in the group, you can always send a message to my Facebook page. Those don't get shared. Sometimes I might share stories about the people I help, but I don't ever mention names. So I'm like, hey, I was talking to a lady today. She said she was worried about what her ex-husband thought about her, and that was keeping her from growing in her business. Not mentioning a name, there's actually 3 people this week that I talked to that had that similar situation. And some of them are probably even listening to this podcast right now. Grow your life. You can increase your impact when you get specific and focused and disciplined on growing in a new skill, learning something new, learning to do something that you've never done before, and activating yourself to get to the next level. I believe in you, and I know that it's possible. And if you want to hop on a call with me, a 30-minute coaching call, I'm actually only going to give this offer to people that have listened to this one single podcast episode. I've never given this offer to anyone else before, and don't go around there telling your friends that, oh, hey, you can just tell Jeremiah that you listened to episode number 33 and he'll do this for you, because that's going to dishonor the process unless they've listened through the whole 50 minutes of this podcast. If you want to hop on a call with me for 30 minutes after listening to this podcast, I do a weekly giveaway on my social media, on my Instagram, every week, where I pick one winner. But if you listen to episode number 33, keep entering that. Keep winning. I pick one winner every single week, but I actually want to work with you specifically. If you've listened 50 minutes into this episode, number 33, send me a DM. Say, I listened all the way to the end of episode 33, and I heard the offer that you gave, and I want to coach with you. I'm actually going to give you a free 30-minute coaching for as long as I can do this, until I have there might be 1,000 people that might try to take me up on this offer. If it gets to that point, I'm going to maybe set up a scheduling system with people. I may have to charge for it in the future. So this is, what's today's date? November 7th, 2019. This offer, I don't know an expiration date right now. Let's just say this. This offer is valid until January 1st, 2020. Okay? Let's put that on there. Let's put an expiration date on this offer for people. If you want to coach with me, if you want a free 30 minutes, we can schedule a time to get on the phone and talk about this and go through this topic right here. I want to help you get to the next level. Now, I'm not going to do repeated 30-minute coaching, meaning if we've hopped on a call before, or you've won the Grow Your Life thing, keep entering that. I still want to work with you, and you can send me DMs and stuff, but I want to meet some new people, and we can maybe continue a coaching relationship together. I'm actually going to offer you from now until January 1st as well. Again, I've never offered this to anybody. You could buy 1 hour of coaching on top of the free 30 minutes that I'm offering you for $400, or get 3 hours of coaching for $1,000. Okay? And I can send you a link and we can schedule it. We can talk about it, but you got to send me a DM. You got to let me know you listened to the end of this. You heard the offer. You want to take advantage of the coaching offer and talk about it. And we can see what the best fit is for you. I'm also going to start developing more courses, more mentorship programs. This offer is only valid for that pricing on coaching until January 1st, 2020. You can keep winning those free coaching, though, by leaving hashtag Grow Your Life on any of my Instagram posts. You can win once per month, and you can win multiple times. Leave hashtag Grow Your Life on my Instagram feed, and I pick one winner every single Sunday that gets a free 30-minute coaching session with me. And you can have those repeatedly. But if you want to take that coaching to the next level and you're serious about it, I actually want to hop on a call with you for 30 minutes for free. If you're serious about doing that next level coaching, the $400 for an hour session, a full session for an hour, not 30 minutes. So we can do a lot more in an hour than we can in 30 minutes, or 3 hours for $1,000. Let me know. Send me a DM, and we can talk on that. Like, we can get that scheduled. So I know that it's possible for you to get to the next level because I've seen it happen with other people before. I believe in you. Don't let your fears keep you from reaching your destiny. Don't let what they said keep you from reaching your destiny. Don't let the opinions of other people keep you from doing what you know that you're supposed to do. We got to use wisdom. We got to use There's systems out there to find wise counselors. And hopefully maybe I can be that for you when it comes to your business, to coaching, to storytelling, to copywriting. But I believe that you know what you're supposed to do. If you're listening to this right now, and if you don't know that, I have a podcast episode I did. It's called Roadmap to Your Destiny. It's going to help you identify where you're at, what your purpose is, and a strategy to get to the next level. And so check out that episode as well. It's on this podcast. Plug into the hashtag Grow Your Life community. Leave hashtag Grow Your Life on my Instagram to win those free coaching sessions. And if you want to take advantage of that offer from now until January 1st, 2020, grow your life, everybody. And we'll talk soon.